Hello and welcome to the Mal and Johnny Show. Well, we've had a bit of a sort of like a different type of weekend for the both of us. You've had a bit of sadness. I've had a strange weekend, which I'll share a little later as well, something out of the ordinary. But yeah, you've lost an old friend.
Yeah, well, she was a wonderful girl. She was a dancer called Sandy, and I first worked with her in Panto in Cardiff in 1980.
Wow.
And when I got the gig to do Monte Carlo, I had to take four girl dancers with me. She was one of the dancers,
Right.
and she was a brilliant dancer. I mean, she did loads of stuff. I mean, she was always working. I mean, she did that video for Elton John, your old pal.
Oh,
Do you, do
yes.
you remember that one when he did "I'm Still Standing"?
Yes.
There's a big line of dancers, and they all do like spin, ding, 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 like that.
Yeah.
And one of them was Bruno Tonioli, and one was Sandy, my friend.
Well.
And unfortunately, the poor girl, she had cancer about was it 10 years ago, even more. And she seemed to battle it. She had the operations and everything, and all the chemo and everything. Anyway, it came back.
Yeah.
And she was working up until a couple of weeks before because she still did stuff, still a beautiful girl. So she wasn't dancing anymore, but she was doing promotions and things. And it was very sad. And I got a call from my other friend, one of the other girl dancers, who now lives in Malaga. Well, you know her, Kathy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Kathy rang up to say, we've lost our friend, Kathy. Well, it knocked me for six.
Yeah.
And anyway, I had to go to the funeral. I just had to. So it was in Streatham.
Right.
So I drove to Streatham, which is no mean feat. And then I did the funeral, then had a couple of drinks with them, and I drove back home. So I was absolutely cream crackered, so I couldn't talk yesterday. But it was a great do because there was loads of ex-dancers there, people I'd worked with.
Yeah.
And Bradley Walsh turned up because his wife was a dancer who'd worked with Sandy.
Right.
I think Sandy used to do Miss World with him as well.
Wow.
He was in bits. He was crying. I mean, he must have been very close. But I mean, she was such a lovely girl. I mean, beautiful.
Yes.
And a nice person, if you know what I mean. There was never any problem with her. She was always happy and jokey. She was lovely.
It's amazing, because I'm not sure whether that's still possible. Is it to have a career that long without becoming a household name for somebody like Sandy?
Well, yeah, she was just like always worked.
Yeah.
But when she was a dancer, she always worked because she was such a good dancer, and she looked young for a long time.
Yeah.
So she could get away with working at, we'll say, 30, when most dancers are finished at 30, aren't they? 25, 30, they give up and go into something else. But then she did other things like promotions and stuff like that. And then she'd always go and do her workouts down in Pineapple Studios and things. It was great. She was great.
Yeah. So who else did you meet while you were there? Old, as you say,
Well, there
old
were
friends.
people, you wouldn't know them all, but I mean, they were like, some guy came up to me, he said, I was in Monte Carlo when you were there. He said, I was doing something for Paddy Stone. I said, well, Paddy Stone was the boyfriend, I said, of Irving Davis, who was my mentor when I was a kid. He was in my dancing school, and Irving became a very big choreographer in London, doing all the Cilla Black shows and so on and so on. And so I had all this crack with people that I hadn't seen for ages. I was, oh, did you work with Jeff Ritchie? Yeah, I did. Jeff Ritchie used to do all the stuff for Marty Kane, and I did Miss Wales with him. He said, because I used to do those bits in the middle when they were totting up the marks.
Yes.
They'd go to a bit of a cabaret. It'd be me singing, girls, a song about girls or something.
Yeah.
And then I danced with the girls and the dancers and so on. And I know it was Brian Rogers I worked with. So all the choreographers and all these dancers who were now like 70 and 65.
But they all look like you. They all look really fit and well.
Well, they look fit. They look like me.
Nobody looks like Johnny Tudor.
And I saw Kate, who was the fairy in pantomime with us in Cardiff New back all those years ago. Yeah. She's an actress now. She does loads of stuff. Yeah. But you see her popping up on things like Casualty and this, that, and the other. It was just great. And it was a lovely duo because everybody was, I mean, there must have been 200 or 300 there. It was packed.
Wow.
And funny enough, she was interred in the same cemetery as Dorothy Squires.
Wow.
And I had the number from Emily where the grave was. I went looking for Dorothy's, but it was so wet I couldn't go trampling all over the place, so I didn't actually find it. But I must go back one day and put some flowers on Dot's grave as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and maybe still is. And I just am not a part of it. Amazing community, all those dancers, entertainers. As you say,
Yeah.
that was somebody's boyfriend. Everybody knew about people's orientation, and it wasn't a problem, was it? And we're talking about a time when outside of that community, it was a problem. Everybody
Well, it
was
was
very
illegal.
accepting.
It was illegal at some time,
Yeah.
until I think the late 60s. It was illegal. I mean, Tudor Davis, another great friend of mine, when I worked in the Pigalle in London, he was one of Irving dancers, but so the four or five of us did this show in the Pigalle. It was like a review.
Yeah.
And we shared a dressing room, right? He used to wind me up. So I said, do you mind if my girlfriend comes into the dressing room? He said, you bring a girl in here, dear, I'll kill it with a stick. It was always the banter,
Yeah. No, what a community. Well, talking about cabaret, I've been booked for a cabaret location just off Piccadilly. It's called the Crazy Cox, COQS.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of that.
There's Adele is the restaurant, and through Rhea Jones, really, who is down at the moment, and I'm probably going to do a bit of recording with her. So, and what I'll do is, when she's down, I'll ask her whether she could become a guest on the program. She's got she's got a couple of shows where she does it quite regularly, and so does her brother Kerry. But they do 2 shows a night. They do one at 7:30 and one at 9:10. So I've got the 9:10 slot on April the 16th. So it's not long to go.
Fab.
Yeah, so it will be just me and a piano, me and a guitar. So no, because quite often these things now I take sort of like video and stuff like that. So, no, I'm gonna have to stand on my own 2 feet, Johnny. There's going to be
You're gonna have to be like me, one-man band.
no hiding place. No hiding place. I'm looking forward. It's only 90 seats. I think it is 80 seats and 90 seats.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I tell you, does it quite a bit. I think it's Bobby Crush. Remember Bobby, piano player?
Yes.
He made a lot of money. He wrote that song for Orville.
Well, I wish I could fly. Well, right up to the sky, but I can't. You can. I can't.
It went to number 1.
Goodness me.
So you earned a few quid out of that.
Oh, well done to him.
Bobby, I've known him for donkey's years as well. Last time I worked with him, we were both on a ship coming back from New York. When you think of the cabarets they used to have on the ships, there was Vince Hill.
Yeah.
There was me. There was a fellow called Alan Stewart, a very good impressionist singer from Scotland. Yeah, Scotland. You know Alan Stewart. And there was Bobby Crush, and there was somebody else, I can't remember. But we were all on the ship together. It was a great crack, in those days.
Yeah. So I've been away for the weekend. It's sort of like I wasn't really expecting, but I went to Bluestone. Now, Bluestone is like one of these. It's like a whole. It's actually like a city in a town in its own right. It's got its own. I know roads and canteens, and not canteens. That would be restaurants, swimming pool. I mean, when I say a swimming pool, it's like a leisure centre, and they've got soft play. I mean, it really was. I was really. And
they got all these like wooden cabins, haven't they?
Yeah,
like log cabins.
Yeah, and what I was really impressed about was the people working there were lovely. Now, no sounds daft because that's their job is to be lovely, but sometimes you go away and it's all a bit much, and it's not surprising because it's hard work and people always want stuff when you're working. But they were also Australian, just very friendly.
All right,
all up for a chat, and the food was really good. I was expecting, when you go to these canteens, because we had. It was my youngest grandson. He's just 2, and you take him for something to eat, and you think, well, I expect it'll be burger and chips. No, they didn't. They didn't have burger and chips. They had like things like gyro. Do you know what a gyro? I think I'm not quite gyros or gyros. Was like chicken in a you make your own sort of like a flatbread and had a bit of this, bit of salad.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, like a kebab sort of thing. But it was like, I know. I thought to myself, well, this is really. It was really quite good, and lots of families. And they, my son-in-law and daughter, go there. They go there Christmas time, and they have all Father Christmas,
the turkey and tinsel.
Yeah, exactly. So I can heartily recommend it. So if you're thinking what to do with the grandchildren, because I know you have them all the time as well, and it's not far to go. Because particularly from Swansea, it was like an hour and a bit down to Arbeth, Narberth. I always think. Do you know what I always think about Arbeth, Narberth? I always think of the lovely Win Calvin. He used to say, Arbeth Narberth, underneath Pomme de Terre, No, was it Albert Narberth twinned with Pomme de Terre? I was one of his.
Because actually, he was from that way, I think.
Yes.
Wynn.
Yeah, he's a Narberth boy.
I still can't believe he's gone. He was so. I mean, until he went, he was like as sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
I mean, wonderful.
Yeah.
My downside to yesterday was
Right.
I got flashed on the M4.
Who was it?
The camera got me. Because you know what it's like. You're going along and you and all the traffic are with you. I was doing I must have been creeping up to 80 instead of the proper. And I went, flash, oh, here we go. And then I thought to myself, John, it's only a fine.
Yeah, it's a fine.
They're dying in Iraq. Forget it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Put it into some perspective, isn't it? But it's annoying. Thing is, it hasn't come through yet, is it? So you're wondering, you've got 14 days to think every.
Or will there be any film in the camera? I don't know.
I parked some. I parked some the other day, and it's 90-minute parking spot. So I went out, and then I realised I hadn't bought something, so I went back and I must have gone over 90 minutes, but it said you can't return back. Even though I'd left, you can't return within 2 hours. So I've been waiting every morning now for the fine to come through.
For the thing that comes in the door.
I've been doing the same thing as you, John. I'm thinking, it's okay. It's
okay. It's not the end of the world. We're still here. We're still working.
We're still going, John. You know?
I saw a lovely thing on the film the other day in the newspaper. Sorry, the picture of Mick Jagger.
Right.
A picture of Paul McCartney, and next to them was what's his? I can't think of his name. Biden. Right?
Joe Biden. Yeah.
Yeah. So the three of them, there's octogenarians, all three.
Exactly.
And when you think about it, they're like live wires, those boys. They're working all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I think his problem is his speech because he stutters.
Yeah.
There's a problem getting stuff out. So he sounds more gaga than he probably is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. No, and people make fun, don't they? People make fun. And,
they do, yeah.
Well, one person in particular makes fun of him. So,
we know he is.
Yeah.
The Trumpingtons. That's where he should be in Trumpton, as a cartoon character.
Other potential dictators are available, so we just will clarify that.
Well, I'm looking forward to the election. I want to know what's going to go on then.
Yeah. I wonder who's going to win.
I don't know.
It's a poison chalice, isn't it? Because all the money's gone.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it. The money's gone, but that's beside. Oh, you mean our
yeah?
Election.
Always election.
Oh, yeah. Well, I see now that Sunak is rolling Boris out again to go canvassing all the red seats because he's the one who got him in the first place. Whatever you say about Boris, he's like a rock star, and he turns up and everybody's because he's a character.
He's a character.
But running the country's a different game, isn't
it? People who are characters, you normally just sort of you want to see on a weekend, don't you? You don't want to run your life. He's a bit of a character, isn't he? Let's put him in charge of Parliament.
You know what though? Have you noticed? It's not change of the story, but if you get a very beautiful woman, right? Mm-hmm. They tend to think they're not very intelligent just because they're good looking. No. It kind of takes it away from what they can actually do. You take that girl that was holding the sword.
Oh, Penny.
What's her name?
Penny Mordaunt.
Penny Mordaunt.
Yeah.
Well, she's very bright.
Yeah.
But because she's such a good-looking bitch, she looks like a film star, doesn't she?
Yeah. Well, they were saying because she carried the sword so well, she'd become Prime Minister because she carried the sword.
That's right.
You should never judge a book by the cover, or as my Auntie Winnie used to say, never judge a sausage by the skin.
That's right.
There's probably a lot more underneath.
I don't know what you think, but I can't be bothered with this woke stuff. I mean, I don't want to get political, but they're going too far with some of this woke stuff. I mean, woke. Somebody told me the word comes from a black thing in America where they use this jargon, and it sounds like woke. Yeah. You woke up or something. I can't remember where it came from.
Because you've been asleep. So you've got to be woke. You've got to woke up.
I suppose there's something like that.
Yeah.
But they want to change Mary Poppins now.
No.
I mean, they do.
She's perfect in every way. I got to know. I got to know the lady who wrote it. What's her name now? Mary Poppins by... Oh, gosh. Anyway, the lady who wrote it, because I was a researcher on the programme, it was a time when Mary Poppins wasn't very popular.
Right.
But she got a new Cherry Tree Lane. Nesbitt. Is that Nesbitt? I'll have a little look. No, I'll just do it in you now. So I was the researcher, and so I was the one who got to chat to her about it. And she was absolutely lovely. Have you seen the actual, the Walt Disney film and the film about Walt Disney?
Oh, about her? No, I
Yeah.
didn't see that. But I think my agent rang me and said I got an audition for you. I said, what? For a chimney sweep in Mary Poppins.
What?
But I didn't actually get the audition, so they must have filled the place. But it'd be one of that routine on the roof where they're jumping about.
P.L.
Yeah.
Travers, her name must be. She was, and she really, in the film, which Mrs. Banks. Is it? Well, anyway, Saving Mr. Banks, which is the film about Tom Hanks being Walt Disney.
Yeah.
It makes out that she wasn't really a big fan of the film. Well, I got to tell you, she really wasn't a fan of the film.
She didn't want it to be made into a film, did she?
No, she was really, quite outspoken, even to me as a youngster, I remember. And then she sent me a book. Then she sent me Mary Poppins at Cherry Tree Lane, signed as well.
Yeah.
And it must be, I must have it somewhere.
You want to keep that?
Goodness
good.
knows, probably worth a fortune. Probably worth a fortune.
Well, that's right. Now, I'll tell you who played Mrs. Banks in the film.
Yes.
Was she only died the other day? Glynis Johns.
Oh yeah, she was brilliant, wasn't she? I loved it.
She was 90 some odd now. She just died, and Alwyn had worked with her in Under Milkwood.
Of course.
When they did the film of Milkwood,
Yes.
she was in it. And she said she was such a lovely woman. She said, could you come, she had that lovely voice, would you come and have tea with me, Alwyn? She said, it would be a pleasure, she said. So she said, went to the hotel and they had tea and sandwiches
Isn't
together,
that lovely? What a memory to have. Oh, and I always remember on Parkinson singing "Send in the Clowns," which was fantastic. Written especially for her, because she couldn't really sing, and she didn't sing it, but she sang it brilliantly.
She spoke it, yeah.
She was fantastic.
Isn't it funny how you get some actors, they can get away with just doing the words. It's like Judi Dench when she was in Cabaret,
Yeah.
Because she's not a singer, Judi Dench, but she got away with, singing the songs.
Yeah. Fantastic, fantastic.
I love her. I think she's great. She's got such a sense of humour. She's always laughing and giggling, isn't she?
Just like us, Johnny. Just like
Just
us.
like us.
Oh.
You've got to live life like to the full, but enjoy life.
Oh, good stuff. All right. Well, have a good week. Have a good week. I hope it. You get your breath back.
I don't get flashed anymore.
No more flashing now, Johnny teetering and flashing into the M4. Maybe I should call that. Maybe that's what we should call the episode. Call
flashing on the M4.
Called flashing on the M4.
Everybody come and look at it.
We could do with a good headline.
They say sex sells.
Yeah. Well, I remember somebody saying to me, with this record, man, he said, we need more sax and we need more violins, sax and violins.
Sax and violins.
always upsells. All right, well, so it's goodbye from the Flasher, and it's...
Well, from me. Ta-da.